Well, former Union Minister for Information and Broadcasting, Congress Party spokesperson Manish Tiwari is taking on BJP General Secretary and Senior Party Leader Rajiv Pratap Rudy. Mr. Rudy and Manish Tiwari, welcome. Now, what are you really complaining about, Mr. Tiwari? The Supreme Court of India has said there need to be compelling reasons for a governor to be removed. So I want to ask you, in the light of all the latest revelations about the loot that was going on in Raj Bhawan, despite your soft corner for Kamala Beniwal that you probably used her as an instrument to target Narendra Modi, wasn't the loot in Raj Bhawan compelling enough a reason for Kamala Beniwal to be sacked? What are you complaining about? Mr. Tiwari, first question to you.
Since Mr. Goswami, you have started off by referring to a Supreme Court judgment, may I also remind you that the same Supreme Court judgment, the Constitution Bench judgment, says that a governor cannot be sacked for the simple reason that he or she is not in sync with the party in power at the center. And number two, the central government has lost confidence in that governor. And if at all the charge is that there is an allegation of corruption, then why doesn't the Home Minister come out and say so? Then why is the government chary of making that charge? And then if those were the compelling reasons, those compelling reasons were known to people in Gujarat, and those same people in Gujarat then came to Delhi.
No,
so what was the need to transfer her first to Mizoram and then sack her from there?
No, is
so
it,
therefore,
you talk about...
if at all it is your case, or... allow me to complete. If at all it is your case, or it is the case of the government, that it is because of alleged corruption that you have sacked Kamala Beniwal, then have the guts and the gumption to say so. And may I complete by saying, Mr. Goswami, that every time a governor travels out of station, he or she has to take the permission of the President of India. So therefore, are you then trying to suggest that the President is complicit in this alleged loot, that he or she allowed the governor to travel out of station? And if that is the case, then would you also care to look across the country and see what has been the track record of the other 30 governors before coming to a conclusion?
Let Mr. Rudy respond to you. Mr. Rudy, I think the most important point that Manish Tiwari says is have the guts, have the courage to reveal the reason why she was removed. Don't ask people to do guesswork on the government's real motive. Mr. Rudy, please respond factually.
Yes. I really do not know why Manish Tiwari is so upset about this particular decision. And I think in all grace, now that they are out of power, they have lost government, and they want some of their people to stick around holding certain constitutional positions. In politics, it's a position, people keep coming in, people keep going out. So this much of emotion about a particular governor, and then trying to tell the BJP...
Sir, give the reason.
Not correct, or Mr. I'm coming, you have had your, he's explained. Now I will just establish a few sequences which Manish Tiwari wanted to say. You see, in UPA 1, when we lost out in 2004, the governor of Uttar Pradesh, Haryana, Gujarat and Goa, which was Vishnukant Shastri, Babu Parmanand, Kailashpati Mishra and Kedarnath Sahni, were sacked. We of course went to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said that unless and until there are compelling reasons and the reasons to be recorded, and simply that they are not that they are out of sync of the political ideology, they should not be sacked. Excellent. Now Mr. Manish Tiwari says, and then I would like, he's a very distinguished lawyer and a very good friend of mine. I would like to draw his attention to some more fact that under the Constitution, Article 74 says the President acts on the aid and advice of the Cabinet, that is number 1. And Article 156, the President has the power to sack a governor, and under Article 155...
Why was she sacked? She is...
Now let me come to
the point, sir.
That's my last point. Yes, sir. Let the people understand what Mr. Manish Tiwari is saying.
He asks you a question. I reiterate it. You haven't come to the point yet.
Now, if he says, now after she was removed from Gujarat, she was sent to Mizoram, and now she has been asked to quit. And many others who were suggested, others who were dignified people in any government, any appointee, they were said that now we request you to quit, and they were informally informed they quit. Here is a governor who says, I'll stick back. And here is a Congress party who says, we'll support you. Now this actually displays that whether it is the leader of the opposition in the Lok Sabha or
how
the
is she
governor
breaking the
who was
rules?
to the post.
No, you
Now-
transferred her.
now
No,
I'm
1
coming
minute.
to that
You
point
transferred
allegation.
her.
Mr. Arnab Goswami.
No, Mr. Rudy, come to the point, please. What is the reason? He says, do you have the guts to reveal the reason? Reveal the reason, he says.
Reveal the reason?
Yeah.
Yes, I am revealing the reason. I am revealing. The government has a certain dignity as far as the post of the governor is concerned.
Yeah.
We would say that now the president is not pleased to keep you in that position, and that is even the president terminates anyone, he is also pleased to terminate the services. There are charges against this lady. She is indulged in corruption charges, proven corruption charges in Rajasthan. The Congress found her fit to be occupying this position. The BJP does not find her to be fit to occupy this position.
That's a very subjective kind of observation.
That is the explicit reason that we have sacked her.
May I,
now
Goswami,
they are crying.
May I, Mr. Goswami, rebut that straight off? May I rebut that straight off?
I'm allowing a rebut, Mr. Rudy.
May I rebut that
Mr. Rudy, I am allowing a
Manish
rebut.
Tiwari is crying, is rolling out his tears over a sacking of a governor who the BJP finds is corrupt.
No.
And the Congress had appointed a corrupt lady.
No, he says.
Governor. That was
no, 1 second. 1 second.
Our prerogative
now that Mr.
We have sacked a
now that
corrupt
Mr.
lady.
Rudy has
What is the problem with
filibustered
Mr.
enough,
Manish Tiwari?
now that Mr. Rudy has
What is the problem
filibustered
with
enough
Mr. Manish
without
Tiwari?
coming to the reason as to why the governor
I've
was
said
sacked,
that there
may
are
I
charges
point
of
out to
corruption
him
and who
that
is
in
Manish Tiwari to
2004,
say that
when
she's
3
not
governors
corrupt?
were removed,
There is-
it is the BJP which went to court. It is Mr. BP Singhal who went to court, Mr. Rudy. And you
didn't you
challenge
listen what
the
I told
removal
you?
of the governors.
I told you that.
You cannot run with the hare and hunt with the hound. The Supreme Court judgment very clearly says that the power cannot be exercised in a capricious, unreasonable and in a colorable manner.
That is
and
what I
number
told
two,
you.
you know, if at all, your argument is that the Council of Ministers, the advice of the Council of Ministers cannot be questioned, the underlying reasons can be questioned. You know, so therefore,
Mr. Tiwari,
what is the charge of corruption?
Mr. Tiwari,
What is the charge of
let
corruption?
us get one thing very clear between both of you. Gentlemen, 1 minute. Mr. Tiwari, allow me to come in. Mr. Tiwari, allow me to come in. Allow me to come in, Mr. Tiwari, now.
If you read Menaka Gandhi,
Mr. Tiwari,
it is implicit. Natural justice is implicit.
Mr.
You
Tiwari,
had to ask the governor.
Mr. Tiwari,
you had to ask her that these are the charges of corruption.
Mr. Tiwari,
please reply.
Mr. Tiwari.
You know, so Mr. Rudy, will you enlighten us as to what are the charges of corruption?
Gentlemen, I think 1 second, cease the debate for a second. 1 second, cease the debate for a second. The question goes out to Manish Tiwari.
And I will do that.
Okay, 1 second. The question goes out to Manish
and I will do
Tiwari.
what are the charges against the governor?
Mr. Tiwari, why are you
showing for a very long time, filibustering? Now, please, squarely answer the question that what are the charges of corruption under which the governor of Mizoram was removed by your government?
Can I do that? Yes, can I do that? And if you are not happy by the removal of the governor, please go and approach the best possible relief, get the best possible relief.
Forget our happiness or unhappiness. Don't filibuster. Answer the question squarely. You said that you've removed her on charges of corruption. What are those charges of corruption?
The governor which was appointed by the... Yes, I'm telling you, listen, my friend. There are issues against the governor which was appointed by the Congress party. There is a land scam in Rajasthan which has specific details. There is a scam of bill and assets against her, where the Gujarat local authorities have said that she has done things which she's not supposed to do. There is a travel scam against her, and there is a book scam against her. She has fudged and played around with the Lok Ayukt issue. There is an allotment of land scam against her. But this is very usual for the Congress party. The Congress party cannot get
Mr. Rudy, if I remember correctly,
Mr.
you went to law school.
Mr. Tiwari,
if I remember correctly,
Mr. Rudy and Mr. Tiwari, 1 minute please, gentlemen.
Has an FIR been registered in any of these cases? Forget a charge sheet. Has an FIR
Manish Tiwari, the question goes to to you, please, gentlemen. Manish
Has
Tiwari,
even
take the
an
question.
FIR been registered
Mr.
against
Tiwari,
any of
take
these
the
cases?
question. Take the
Forget
question.
a charge sheet or forget
Take
a
the
conviction.
question. Mr.
But
Tiwari,
go
take the
on
question.
Scam,
Tiwari.
land
Take the
scam,
question.
you know, horse scam, cat scam, camel scam. I don't know what scams you're talking
Mr.
about.
Tiwari,
Please,
Mr. Tiwari,
please
take the question.
Enlighten me.
Take
Has
the
an
question.
FIR been registered, a charge sheet been
Mr.
filed, a conviction handed down by any court in any of
Mr.
these
Tiwari,
cases?
it is a temptation
Yes,
that the
Manish,
Congress leaders
there
have
is
very
nothing very
often,
unusual
that
about
they
the
ask
Congress
their own
party. There's
questions and
nothing
answer them as well. 1 minute, Mr. Rudy, just hold on 1 minute. I find your argument, Mr.
Well, that
Tiwari,
is what
Mr.
we
Tiwari, I
learned
find
from
your
the
argument,
anchors.
I find your argument with respect to you, and I know you are a very good lawyer, but it's a self-defeating argument. I'll tell you why. For two reasons, if you just have the patience to listen. You come on national television and you insult the President of India. I thought, Mr. Tiwari, that you have some regard for Pranab Mukherjee's and his ability to sift through data and apply his mind properly without bias or prejudice. You come on television and effectively you are questioning the wisdom of Pranab Mukherjee by saying that he has made up his mind and issued the orders without applying his mind to the data. So obviously there must be some data Pranab Mukherjee has seen on the basis of which he is convinced Kamala Beniwal should be removed. Point number one. Point number two, Mr. Tiwari, what compelling reason do you want? Is it not compelling reason that a governor spends 500 days outside her state during her tenure? Is it not a compelling reason that a governor spends 277 hours of flight time on a state-sponsored jet to spend time outside her state? Is it not a compelling reason, Mr. Tiwari, unless you are blindfolding yourself to the truth, that the governor in her official capacity uses 53 of the 69 private jet plane rides to fly to her home state? What compelling reason are you looking for, sir? Is it not a compelling reason that she has not explained how her 277 hours in jet planes and 480 days outside Gujarat benefited the state she was made a governor of? In other words, Mr. Tiwari, if all these compelling reasons are shown to you and you still say, I don't see, that means you don't want to see.
May I
rebut that
straight off, Mr. Goswami?
Because of her usefulness in taking on Modi.
I thought that you understood the constitutional scheme. I thought you understood the constitutional scheme. And the constitutional scheme says that the president functions on the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. And Mr. Goswami,
are you saying that the president
and tried to enlighten your audience that when a governor leaves station, he or she has to take prior permission of the President of India. So therefore, are you trying to suggest that that permission was wrongly accorded by the President of India? Number three, if at all, at that particular point in time when the governor was ostensibly traveling to and fro, as you suggest, to your home state,
did the
then state government bring this to the notice of the union government or the President of India?
That
the governor is indulging in impropriety?
I understand.
You see, all of a sudden you wake up because the governor has had differences with your state government, transfer somebody arbitrarily to Mizoram, and then you sack her. And then you try and accuse us of trying to insult the office of the President of India.
Indirectly you do.
Bizarre logic I've heard in my life.
Okay, we hear a rebut from Rajiv Rudy.
By the way, one second. Before
I go to Rajiv
I've only pointed out to you
before
a president leaves station, he has to take prior permission of the President of India.
Mr. Tiwari,
so please go and check that fact. And to Mr. Rudy, I just would like to ask that all those scams you talked about, land scam, boat scam, camel scam, book scam, and various other scams, is there any conviction in any of those scams?
Yes. Can I come here? Can I come here, Mr. Manish Tiwari? Mr. Manish Tiwari, please. And let the viewers know it. And Mr. Arnab Goswami, let them. In the land scam case, the person who was appointed as a governor, she's accused of acquiring plots of land of government on the claims of working 14 to 16 hours in a day as a farm labor. And she's working. Just imagine this governor who got allotted land to herself, claiming that she was working 14 to 16 hours in a field as a farmer or as a laborer. I'll tell you something very interesting. In 1996 judgment of the Supreme Court, the Rajasthan Lok Ayukt said that the Beniwal and other high-ups in Rajasthan government blatantly misused their official position to favor a few influential and highly placed individuals in Jaipur Development Authority. She is accused of a book scam where books which were worth 2 rupees in the market, she purchased it for 20 when she was a revenue minister in Rajasthan government. I can continue about the charges against her, and all these are proven on record.
Mr. Rajiv Pratap Rudy, Mr. Rajiv Pratap Rudy,
but I can understand.
Mr. Rajiv Pratap Rudy, from 1998 to 2004,
okay, Mr. Rudy, he heard you. Now listen to
Congress
him.
government in Rajasthan. You were in the opposition. Did you ever raise this issue when you were in the opposition? From 2004 till 2009, 2008,
listen to him.
you had a government in Rajasthan headed by your current chief minister. Did you Lord register any cases against Kamala Beniwal?
Mr. Manish Tiwari asked tonight.
Suddenly you wake up and discover these scams. What action did your government take from 2003 to 2008 against the governor you have
Mr. Manish Tiwari. Mr. Manish Tiwari asked tonight. No, 1 second. Mr. Manish Tiwari.
In the opposition, did you raise these issues?
Mr. Tiwari asked tonight.
You had a government in Rajasthan. Did you register an FIR against
Mr. Tiwari, just listen. You asked tonight, Arnab, I am surprised that you don't understand the constitutional scheme of things. Mr. Tiwari, I don't want to respond that, but I am surprised that a person of your eminence does not know the law. You are a distinguished lawyer. Mr. Tiwari, you have said, and I like to quote you, you have said, quote, it is incumbent that the Home Minister informs the country as to why the Governor of Gujarat, who is an elderly lady, I don't know where the elderly argument came from, was first transferred in a cavalier manner to a northeastern state. Mr. Tiwari, don't you read the law? Don't you know the Supreme Court judgments? Don't you know the 2010 judgment? The Supreme Court has said in its 2010 judgment that the reasons need not be disclosed. However, if the governor feels her sacking is illegal, she can appeal to the court upon which the reasons need to be laid about. Therefore, it is upon Kamla Beniwal to prove that her sacking was mala fide and capricious. I thought you know this. It has emerged to me that you have not read the Supreme Court 2010 judgment,
Goswami,
Mr.
since you
Tiwari,
quote the judgment,
which is slightly
and
shocking
you've accused me of not knowing the law.
Of this particular, I'm not saying you're completely ignorant. I'm saying you don't know this judgment.
Please read the opening head note of that judgment. The opening head note of the judgment
chapter,
says
para and verse, and I can quote it to you.
The governor cannot be transferred just because he or she is out of sync with the powers that be in Delhi.
Yes.
And number two, the governor cannot be transferred or cannot be removed because he or she has lost the confidence of the union government.
Again, you are wrong.
The judgment starts with that.
For a second time, you are wrong.
Therefore, it is incumbent on the Home Minister that if at all you are invoking the charge of corruption to remove a governor or invoking the charge of alleged corruption, then have the gumption to say so.
Mr. Tiwari,
have the gumption to say so.
Mr. Tiwari,
what Kamala Beniwal does or does not do in terms of invoking the judgment in order to challenge a removal is a separate issue. but the fact is, the decision of the government, Mr. Goswami, flies in the face of the 2010 judgment, which was delivered at the instance of Mr. B.P. Singhal, who was then a member of Parliament of the Raj Sabha of
now,
the Bharatiya Janata Party.
Mr. Tiwari, you got unnecessarily provoked out there. You got unnecessarily provoked out there. I didn't say you don't know the law. Please don't take it otherwise. But I did say that you might be ignorant of specific parts of the 2010 judgment. I can quote it to you chapter, para and verse.
Well,
no. 1 minute. So 1 minute. Because
head to tail and you are completely and absolutely up with the judgment.
Right, now I'll tell you something.
Could you please point out to me the first head note which starts off by saying governor cannot be removed because he or she is out of sync with the central government or because the central government has lost confidence in her. Does it say that or does it not?
You want me to tell you now why you are wrong? You're actually telling me to prove that you're wrong? You want me to prove right now on live television that you are wrong?
Go ahead and prove me that I'm wrong.
Okay, then you called it upon yourself,
Go
Mr.
ahead
Tiwari.
and prove me that I'm wrong.
You called it upon yourself, Mr. Tiwari. The Supreme Court has said...
Well, you go ahead and get off the rhetorical horse and come to substance.
I am going ahead and proving you wrong now. The Supreme Court has said, though no reason need to be assigned for the discontinuance of the pleasure resulting in the removal, the power under Article 156(1) cannot be exercised in an arbitrary, capricious or unreasonable manner. Now you see, Mr. Tiwari, apply your mind logically and not politically. What the government has ensured by sacking her after information of her misdeeds and her travel emerged, it has ensured that she was sacked for a compelling reason and not a whim. Point one. Now, point number two, because you must be proven wrong completely tonight.
What is
no,
the compelling reason?
Just allow me, Mr. Tiwari. Allow me, Mr. Tiwari. You can argue after that.
Please pause for a moment, since you've asked me to reflect on the judgment.
Just pause for a moment and hear the second point.
Please pause for a moment.
Mr. Tiwari, pause.
Please pause for a moment.
Mr. Tiwari, why don't you pause for a moment?
What is the compelling reason?
I'll tell you the compelling reason. Now she was moved to Mizoram.
You tell me, Mr. Goswami, what is the compelling reason?
Well, you want to know the compelling reason?
What was the compelling reason?
I just told you the compelling reason that a governor spends 277 hours of flight time on a state-sponsored jet to spend time outside
if that
the
is
state.
the compelling reason,
the compelling reason
if that is the compelling reason, let the government say that.
The government has said that to the President of India.
Let the government say that.
The President has accepted.
Don't let the government say that.
But
the government is not saying that.
The President has accepted.
The Home Minister says, I cannot reveal the reason.
No, but the President has accepted. Are you above the President?
The Home Minister says, I cannot reveal the reason.
The Home Minister...
Well, in the sense, let's not go again into semantics of above and below the President.
Tiwari, point number two.
The President is bound by the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers.
Point number two.
The administrative minister in this case is the Home Minister, and the Home Minister says, I cannot reveal the reason. And you and the other apologists for the government
Mr.
are now
Tiwari,
saying
don't call me an apologist for any government.
If there was alleged compelling loot, let the government come out and say.
I was neither an apologist for your government. When you were a minister, neither will I be an apologist for this one. So you take that back. My second point to you is the Supreme Court
don't
said...
Don't take it personally.
I don't take it personally. It's a professional response to a personal comment. The second point is the Supreme Court says, and you said that a governor cannot be removed on the ground that he or she is out of sync with the policies and ideologies of the union government or the party at power at the center. Now, what has the government ensured? They moved her to Mizoram, they didn't sack her. So they proved they were not acting against Beniwal despite having a history with her, right? The sacking comes only after a seemingly compelling reason comes forth, thereby blunting any allegation that she was sacked for not being in sync with the current government. If they wanted to sack her for not being in sync with the current government, they would have sacked her the day after Modi became Prime Minister.
Ingenuous argument. This is the most disingenuous argument which could have been ever put forth. First of all, you transfer a person for no rhyme or reason. And therefore, then you want to put a fig leaf on it that if we would have had any political vendetta in our mind, we wouldn't have transferred her. We would have dismissed her straight off. I don't think it requires any rocket science, to see through that charade.
No, Mr.
And
Mr.
still,
Rudy.
from my dear friend Mr. Rudy, whom I respect very much, I have still not heard the compelling reason. Let the government come out and say that we removed Mrs. Kamla Beniwal on grounds of alleged corruption. Then why is the Home Minister chary of saying that?
Mr. Tiwari, you did not even find a compelling reason to remove A. Raja till the media exposed so much that you had to. You didn't find a compelling reason against Kalmadi when you were in power. You didn't find a compelling reason against Mr. Bansal. Against Mr. Bansal.
Well, Mr. Goswami, if you want to go on to that tangent, then we can get into an argument.
No, I don't want to get into that.
Why you can spend hours and hours and hours on the CAG report.
Mr. Rudy's turn
you did not even have 10 minutes to spend on the JPC report, which the BJP adopted, which was adopted 14 to 11. And please go and read the contents of that JPC report also, since you bring up the 2G spectrum
so what
issue.
Are you saying? Are you saying it's vendetta? Then I'll get Mr. Rudy. You're saying it's pure vendetta, is it? You're saying it's pure vendetta for what? Elucidate it. Say so.
All I'm saying is, in the absence of any compelling reason being articulated by a government which prides itself of transparency, what other conclusion can you come to, given the fact that the governor or the former governor had a history of differences with the state government?
Land grab, misuse of Raj Bhawan, misuse of funds, book scam, travel scam, not good enough. Mr. Rudy's turn to response. This is therefore political vendetta, says the Congress
in any
party.
Of them? Charge sheet in any of them?
Yes, sir.
Conviction in any of them? Charge sheet in any of them?
Was Raja charge sheeted when you sacked him? Was Kalmadi charge
Mr.
cheated
Raja
when you
was
threw him
charge
out?
cheated.
Was Bansal
Mr. Raja
charge
was
cheated?
charge cheated.
Was
He's
Ashwini
facing a
Kumar
trial.
charge cheated?
Well,
Come on,
he's-
Mr. Rudy.
He's facing a trial.
Response from the BJP. Respond,
Come on,
Mr. Rudy. You've been
come on,
unusually
Mr.
quiet.
Goswami. I mean, don't try and defend an indefensible action of the government.
Mr. Rudy has been unusually quiet. Mr.
Yes,
Rudy, have you run out of arguments?
Can I say something? Oh, Manish, can you leave it now? You have lost, fighting a lost battle, boss. Manish, my only
Not
submission
me,
here is...
I didn't say that you've run out of arguments.
It's not very unusual, for the Congress in the backdrop of what happened in last 10 years and what happened in the elections to defend corruption. This is not very unusual, and we have been very used to hearing all of you. But I think it's right time now to accept certain things. And if there were certain charges of corruption, and assuming that there was a needle of suspicion against her, doesn't this government enjoy the right that if I feel there are reasons enough, there is suspicion, Caesar's wife should be above suspicion? Doesn't the government of the day, which has the mandate, have a right to even remove a governor and appoint a governor, and especially in a backdrop when
Why?
there were many things which even your government, if it was there in your place and if your government, which possibly may not happen.
No, why? Mr.
soon.
Rudy.
So in that
They are
situation,
saying it's vendetta because their point is it's vendetta because you
I
had.
think the Congress party can only gain, and if my friend Manish Tiwari would agree, not allowing Pappu Yadavs to come and sit next to Sonia Gandhi or make defense of corruption. And we are concerned. We wanted you to be the national opposition party occupying the space.
Mr. Rudy, why are you slipping away from the Beniwal issue?
I would not like.
Why are you slipping away from the Beniwal issue, Mr. Tiwari? Mr. Rudy, Mr. Rudy, 1 minute. Is there a history? Is there a history which Mr. Rudy counter to you? Is there a history with Mr. Modi? No, does she or does she?
Could you give me a minute?
No, does she or does she not have a history of confrontation with Mr. Modi?
Mr. Rudy as to why his government does not have the right. You know, I will enlighten Mr. Goswami I'll enlighten Mr. Rudy as to why this government doesn't have the right. Give me a minute, Mr. Goswami.
Now we do not need you.
Give me a minute and I'll enlighten him.
You can argue that in the court.
I'll enlighten him why his government does not have the right. You just give me a minute.
Yes, I'll tell you.
Okay.
I'll tell you. You can
forget the people's court. I will give you the reason why your government doesn't have a right, Mr. Rudy. Your government does not have the right because please go and read Maneka Gandhi's judgment. Please go and read Maneka Gandhi's judgment, which was compulsory reading in law school. It says natural justice is intrinsic in administrative law. So therefore, if you wanted to remove the governor on alleged charges of corruption, it was incumbent upon you to first of all give her a show cause notice. Ask her to explain that these are the reasons on which we are removing.
Gentlemen, you are not listening to each other.
Therefore, the reason. So even the pleasure of president has natural justice intrinsic in it.
I have just one point before I close this debate. 1 point. And I think Mr. Rudy should take this directly, should not deflect, and Mr. Rudy should not hope that he will get away with rhetoric as far as this question is concerned. Okay, Mr. Rudy, you won't tell us the reasons. Fine. No, 1 second. Okay, Mr. Rudy, you will whisper the reason into Pranab Mukherjee's ear. Okay, Mr. Rudy, you will come on television and say, I don't need to tell you the reason. Fine. I just want to ask you today. You ask yourself, is it true or not that you had a huge history of a fight with Kamala Beniwal? Is it true or not that in 2012 she gave sanction for the prosecution of Purushottam Solanki, Narendra Modi's Minister for Water Resources, following allegations of his involvement in a fisheries scam? Is it true or not that she went ahead, let me complete, and appointed Justice R.A. Mehta as, allow me to complete, as Gujarat Lokayukta without the consultation of the state government? And finally, is it true or not, Mr. Rudy? Is it true or not that you had repeatedly called for her removal while she was governor of Gujarat over the difficulty that you had in dealing with her, and now that you got the opportunity, you have thrown her out? So can you tell the people of India that there is no vendetta, no past history that you carry into this decision? That's 1 point. Don't slip away from that.
Yes.
Yes. You admit so.
Before we
admit it.
Just a second. Just Arnab. Just a reference and then I will answer you.
Yes, I gave 3 examples.
In Rajasthan, a court had ordered a police inquiry into the allegations
Sir,
of
I am
land
asking
grab
you about
by,
your history with her in Gujarat.
Beniwal. Just a second.
Sir, the Chief Minister of
I'm
Rajasthan
just
has not
coming back.
become the
Just
Prime
listen,
Minister of
because
India. The
Manish-
Chief Minister of
my
Gujarat
friend,
has
my
become the
friend.
Prime Minister of India. Why is
My
slipping
friend,
away?
I just come back to it, but listen to one
No,
point.
why are you
which
not
Manish had
answering
raised.
my question?
Honor, just listen to one point.
Sir, is
which
there a
Manish
history
had raised
between
and you
Modi
can
and
answer-
Beniwal? That's all I'm asking you. Yes or
That
no?
I will come, but you listen to one action.
Yes or no, sir?
Then you keep saying, I will not answer what you want me to answer.
Then how
I
about-
will also tell you something which Manish had pointed out, and then I will answer your question, my friend. Honor, Manish had said, why was an FIR not instituted against her? There was a court in Rajasthan which had said that there are allegations of land grab by her, Kamala Beniwal, on complaint filed by one Mr. Sanjay Agrawal, and the case could not be filed against her since she was occupying a constitutional position where the court had ordered an FIR. So this proves a point that there was an FIR ordered against her and proves Mr. Manish Tiwari completely wrong. Now coming back to the question of Mr. Arnab Goswami, yes, there were issues.
Yes.
And actually, she was not conducting herself correctly, which the state government
now
of
we
Gujarat
come to the
did
moot
speak
point.
out. Can't you listen, my friend?
No.
And there were issues. There were certain issues in Gujarat also where she, on the
why
issue of
carry it over?
Lokayukt, went ahead and took a discretion. There were issues.
Why
And
carry
she
it over?
has
Why be bitter and
she
have
has
vendetta
been-
over it?
Now you are sitting in a studio. There are the reasons, and beyond all what she did as a governor, she was also indulging in corrupt practices. Now BJP and NDA government led by Mr. Modi will not tolerate whatsoever corruption of the past or the present.
All right.
And this is our fundamental. And as far as the Congress party,
Mr.
there is
Goswami, may I
nothing
come in for a
unusual
moment?
about corruption.
I'll have to
Manish
allow
Tiwari
quick
talks
rebut.
about it.
Quick rebut and then we close
Mr.
this.
Goswami, may I come in for a moment?
Very briefly before we close.
Mr. Rudy, even if I take all the wild allegations that you've made on face value, I would like to point out to you that
2G,
intrinsic
3G
to
and
administrative
every
law,
scam that
intrinsic
we saw in this country.
intrinsic
You always
to
call
the
it
pleasure
wild.
of the
But
president
ultimately,
is the doctrine
the
of
people
natural
realized that you were
justice.
indulging in
Now,
corrupt
I heard you.
practices.
Now, please hear me. Now, have the patience to hear me. Intrinsic to the doctrine of the pleasure of president is also the doctrine of natural justice. If at all you were removing a governor, a constitutional functionary on alleged charges of corruption, propriety demanded that you show cause her, allow her to answer those, and after that you should have taken action. There is only one reason that you've removed the governor, and that is because she is not in sync. She is not in sync with the government of the day.
Wrapping
and
up
that
now.
Flies in the face of the constitutional
Wrapping up.
judgment, which was given at the instance of one of your
Are
members
there
of parliament.
clean motives
That,
or is there a
unfortunately,
tit
Mr. Rudy,
for
is the bitter
tat?
truth.
Are there clean motives or is there a tit for tat? That's the question for the viewer. I thank Rajiv Rudy and Manish Tiwari for joining me on this debate on the Newshour tonight.